Deep analysis? Really? Scene by scene? Fine, I'll show you deep. Let's just sit back and relax, grab ourselves a nice cup of joe, turn off our ad block, like and subscribe, and let's get started. Here we have the Larian Studios logo. Did you catch it? How about I play the intro logo to Original Sin 2? See it now? Okay, here, side by side. It's very subtle. At first you think it's the same, but notice the slightly different gradient brightness of the plunger, just ever so slightly wider. This might not seem like a huge deal, but it can imply a variety of different things. Brightness and contrast are all very important to analyze. Little known fact, even Gandalf's middle name was 50 Shades of. In particular, the psychology of colors is a well-known research phenomenon. Colors are in essence the pigments of our imaginations. We even have these handy infographics that show what they mean and how they make us feel. Yellow imitates warmth, energy, enthusiasm, optimism. The release of Original Sin 2 after the success of the first game was just that, filled with positive emotions and hopes of success. They still needed a Kickstarter to fund a portion of their project to make it as great as it could be, and that did particularly well. This led to these happy feelings. Now that they're more stable, it has turned wider, implying purity, innocence, balance. Security in what they are doing? Is this because of their partnership with another studio, or self-confidence in themselves? Nobody knows. Am I crazy? What we have here is Larian's logo of their children's platform. Yeah, they released educational games in their past. Wikipedia told me so. Notice how vast the difference of colors is. Much, much more mellow yellow with the elimination of red. Red pertaining to love and excitement. Did they not like making children's games? I can't put words in their mouth, but the market for children's games is garbage as no one will buy them. Why would you be excited to commit to something you love doing if it won't even feed you? Oh. Plus, trying to tell a teenager that they should be excited to pay for and play an educational game instead of predatory crack injections is like convincing an obese lion to be friends with a zebra in an effort for him to watch his diet. It doesn't make much sense, but there's a joke in there somewhere. Could be also that YouTube's color correction is garbage and I'm looking at the things that aren't there. But notice how logos have changed over time. For example, the EA Sports logo. In the beginning, it was bright red and blue. Going back to our handy little What Emotions to Feel guide, this signified excitement, love, and trust, dependability. Over time, that logo has changed into this black and white mess. EA themselves chose to make and change the logo itself to black, implying that they are evil and unhappy, surrounded by the purity and innocence of the average consumer. Predatory and unashamed. In other words, we need to stop becoming fuel for the greedy corporate overlords and take it a letter at a time. F-U, EA, lol. It's in the game. Now that I've wasted 2 minutes of your life in an effort to prove EA is bad, let's move on. Logic artists. Who are they? Quick Google search reveals that they made some incredible RPGs. I have never heard of any of them. These games are all, well, games. The consensus seems that the two turn-based ones offer great storytelling and RPG action, but suffer from the butterface treatment despite having artists in their name. We might say that we can love a game for its compelling gameplay stories and over-the-top action, but in the end we'd rather suffer through mediocre garbage that at least can make us truly feel like Iron Man. THQ Nordic even bought the publishing rights to their more successful Expedition series. That doesn't say much after what Darksiders 3 and Darksiders 3 with guns became. But I am still hopeful. XCOM with magic instead of guns would be Beast with guns as well. And Larian definitely has the art direction and compelling storytelling that will make it happen. Right? Hey, when do I get paid for saying this?
Commander, Rivellon is burning.
Which one of you set it on fire? Was it you, Will? Here's Malady. The design is as edgy as I remember it. Still the ultimate waifu. Being disappointed in me as always with those crossed arms. Also, did you notice the whole commander thing? Like they totally ripped that off from XCOM. Anyways, after the end of OS2, I still don't really know what the hell is going to happen or what her intentions are. So, which one of the endings is canon? Most likely the restoration of Divinity across the realm. Bam, I'm putting my opinion down, you guys eat it up.
Our people decimated.
Rivellon is burning, yet we cut to an ice scene where fire is the only thing that's keeping them alive. Nice. This aerial shot here is essentially an average Tuesday in my hometown. Only thing unbelievable is the quantity of poison barrels. If we zoom in real close, we can see that the NPC is highlighted with the cursor. That's about all I have to say on that. The background is generic snow, but we can see that there is a house here with a light, illuminating a way out of this depressed environment, or simply some a-hole about to cast ignition again. These dwarven princesses feel out of place, as they are much taller than the average men that are around, and look stone cold.
The bloodless have risen. And they're dancing on our graves.
The transition from ice place to stark contrast place, being all blood ritually and all opposite-like, coming from dead wintry shrubs to thriving weird vegetation that resembles organs and veins, literally vital to any place that's creepy. Fun fact, blood is actually quite a good fertilizer due to its high nitrogen abundance, so these ghouls are essentially environmentalists. Now, here we have our bad boy skeleton, emphasis on ton. He's made out of bones. This design is pretty rad and he definitely has a bone to pick with you, but in a way it's kind of disappointing as well. I understand what they're going for here, random collections of bones morphing into a creature, but it's too damn anthropomorphic. I mean, look at him. He has legs, a pelvis, a spine, arms, a head. Sure, there's skulls randomly replacing some of his other bones, like his knees and what appears to be his wing, and his boobs, but it's too human-y for me. I'd prefer something along the lines of Gravelord Nito from Dark Souls, where it literally does look like there was a bunch of skeletons stacked somewhere after an unfortunate crimes against the state accident that turned into this concoction. The two animal skulls are cool with a mandible, gives off a Leshen vibe from The Witcher, which kind of goes with the whole environmentalist angle that I brought up before. Nature worship is back and it's more metal than ever, or I guess more bones than ever. Isn't that humorous?
But this isn't my first waltz with evil. And this time, I'm not dancing alone.
Oh my god, epic. It's all the characters we love, except not a fan. Hate them so much. This scene really does look weird, kind of like they're all posing for a Christian rock album, everyone looking in different directions. Plus, Red Prince's face just looks terrible. Resembles a moray eel more than a dragon. Okay, seriously though, I'd rather be friends with the skeleton than this thing. I mean, I guess they got the whole ugly inbreeding of royalty aspect down. We have to address the voiceover. Not the voice itself, as the voice actress is quite talented, but the words. The bloodless have risen, and they're dancing on our graves. But this isn't my first waltz with evil, and this time, I'm not dancing alone. Really? The Dance of Death angle? Well, okay, what's next? We're also introducing co-op to this game because it takes two to tango.
We must gather a special covenant.
Now we get to the meat of the game. Fane's selling you ship upgrades because, you know, you're saving the entire world as we know it, and there's always that one a-hole trying to make a quick buck.
Welcome.
Here we have spells such as Source Healing, Neutralizing Beam, Arcane Stitch, Epidemic of Fire, Cluster Bombs. They have a cost of in-game currency to buy, but there's a different cost on the bottom. Looks like to be source point cost indicator. If we momentarily skip forward for a quick look, the hotbar at the bottom has 6 source points. I think ship upgrades are special and situational attacks you'll be able to utilize per battle, most likely being limited to the source points you have. I don't know why no one has made this prediction and instead insists on ship battles, but hey. New element, Sulfurium. It makes stuff explode, more on that later.
Of the Godwoken.
Here we have our first glimpse on classes. Looks like you get to pick your main hero character, such as Losa in this case, and armor with 3 merry men of your choosing. We got healers who, by description, are gifted with the arts of healing. Thanks, Larian. Skill set looks to be all buffs and restoration abilities. Going to assume source healing uses up source points. I'm scared that this here is implying that skill sets are going to be locked in already and aren't customizable, at least for the pawns. This leads to easier balancing, but less min-maxing autism that I require. Mages have some decent abilities, especially... Ooh, is that acid spores I'm seeing? I remember the good old days of running a flame earthbender in Original Sin 1, casting fireball and acid spores every chance I got, especially when my melee fighter friend wanted to get up close and personal. Good times. We aren't good friends anymore. On the left we have class selections. Probably pretty reasonable to state that this implies that you get multiple pawns from each class to pick from, so varieties of different spells and combinations. Gonna assume classes are Knight, Ranger, Mage, Healer, and Guy who remains invisible the entire encounter and griefs. Top right, 2 potion slots, similar to XCOM stim packs and grenade slots. Consumables formed outside of combat? The hell are you asking me for? I didn't make the game.
And end the war.
Back to nature stuff. The circle around this person feels like an indicator of something. Zooming in, pretty sure it's a dragon character wearing some nature mask. Did I mention that I think the theme of this game will be nature, being pissed off at you for kinda disrespecting it? Since guns are being introduced, gonna assume industrialization and we get the Princess Mononoke, here we go again meme going. Overrated movie, ending made no sense, no lesson was learned by the humans, but that's an unpopular opinion that needs its own video.
Dividing our people.
Got the Council of Pretentious Elves. Oh hey, it's Sebel. Is she gonna murder these people too? These fantasy settings are weird because they always neglect what people do for fun around here. Like, what the hell are they staring at when they sit here and no one has anything to tell them? Do they just stare off in the distance, or are they really that ugly that they can't even stand themselves?
Sacrifices must be made.
Sacrifices must be made. Looks like they made a good call and killed off if Fawn been mezzed. Or should I say, if Fawn been dead. Which brings us to a question, permadeath? Probably. Earlier games from Logic Artists had cripple mechanics if your character gets hit in combat, which could be treated or led to death, so a bit more leeway. Don't think it'll be as harsh as XCOM's, where my Joseph Stallion died a horrible death and turned into alien glue. Probably a part of some sectopod by now. Everything is on fire, so we know Larian is actively involved. Top right, objectives. Missions have a point to them, not just to eliminate enemy encounters. Probably a good call, as Enemy Unknown had a problem of lack of urgency, where you just send one guy out to see if you trigger any aliens and you group the rest of the guys to hit him and go Overwatch. Over and over. XCOM 2 solved this by the time limits, so here we have pseudo time limits. Going to assume missions will include things like accomplish X before you get overwhelmed, stop Y before they murder the people you want to protect. Though the New Finland one from XCOM Enemy Unknown was a good one. Bottom right, there's a dragon, cute.
Empire
Nice, we get Lizard to Bone spell, Wonder Bones to Peaches will make an appearance.
will fall,
Hey, did I mention that I think nature will be a prominent theme in this game?
but we will strike back, using whatever means necessary.
Yvonne's still dead, good. Objective, open vents before it explodes. Ha, I called it. We got the sulfurium element all over here, nicely positioned. Hover over blunderbuss, yeah, that's right. We're getting guns. Damage is based on your weapon and increased by finesse. Literally same style as the original Sin 2 descriptions. Cooldowns and action points as well. Looking at the character positions, this does not seem to be grid-based by any stretch of the word, which is highly disappointing. Cover for games like this I feel like plays a vital role in strategy, which to me was more fun than playing a game of trying to stun the enemy that moves next, but both have problems, so we'll decide when I get to actually play it. Moving and taking actions makes for interesting challenges, but having action points also dictate movement is either going to make this game extremely hard or extremely easy. Those spells still have cooldowns, might be a wash. I want to play this game. Those are some sweet, thick bricks. Explosions throw characters away. That's a pretty novel idea for the genre, giving me Into the Breach vibes.
Command the Apocalypse Squad and vanquish Rivellon of a new evil. Aboard the Lady Vengeance.
Hard rock badassery. More and more alliterations to metal in progress, aka about man versus nature, supposed theme. Did I mention that before? We got dragons, guns, and automatrons, oh my. Like, what is this thing? Why do I want to blow it up so much? This here is some prime dwarven engineering. Also dragons, alluding to that this game might be the equivalent to chasing the dragon. That concludes the deep analysis that got less deep as it went. Overall, I am excited for this game to come out. Looks like they morphed Divinity into a more standard XCOM-y experience where exploration and standard RPG questing is being replaced with scripted missions. I think this will appeal more to the action crowd this time around and potentially lead to another influx of players playing original Sin 2, which is good news for me and my channel. Did I mention that I think nature is going to be a major theme in this game? Also, if you don't think Malady is evil or definitely ill-intentioned after this picture, join the club. Who cares if her name literally means a disease or ailment, like ones that affect plants and eradicate living things, almost as if Mother Nature herself is trying to cleanse the world. Wait, did I mention the nature thing? Like and subscribe. Next video is when Baldur's Gate 3 gets announced, you suckers. Wait, what? Wait, did I mention that I think...